The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. If you miss an episode, you can catch me on Spotify or catch me on Apple, or you can go to my website, themainstreetcode.com, and pick up past episodes. And when we talk about our code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we help hundreds of advisors across the United States, insurance professionals, attorneys, accountants, with their insurance needs, whether it's life insurance, long-term care, disability, or annuities, or life settlements. You have to sell your policy because you've outlived it and it has value. Your life insurance is a valuable tool. So we don't work for any company. We work for our own company. We have 30 different insurance companies we represent. We're completely independent, and we just try to find the best solution for you and your planning. And looking forward to a great show. And today we have with us Bill Zalakar. Hi, Bill. Say hello.
Hello, Neil. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here again with you.
Oh, I'm thrilled that you're here. Bill is the executive director of the Farm Bureau. Is that of Long Island, of New York, or?
The district I handle is Long Island and New York City metro area.
Oh, that's a big district.
It is. One of the largest areas in New York State, and proud to represent that area.
Excellent. So tell me what the Farm Bureau does.
Well, we represent a lot of the agricultural industry that's out there. Most people think of us as just being involved in helping out the farmers and everything, but we lobby and try to help with the different problems that the farm community is having. But beyond that, we also work a lot with education and trying to engage and work with the public, letting the public know, It's a lot of people say, there's no agriculture in my area, especially when you move more west and towards the city area. But everybody's got to think. Everybody has to eat food, correct?
Right. Everybody's got to eat, right?
Exactly. So everybody is tied in one way or the other with the agricultural industry.
Absolutely. Now, the Farm Bureau covers not just, regular mom and pop farms. There's also wineries. There's also fisheries. I mean, how much does the Farm Bureau get involved with?
Well, Farm Bureau is pretty much like an umbrella organization for the agricultural industry. When you look at New York State, there's a lot of dairy in the rest of New York, which is the dominant aspect of agriculture in New York State. But our region of Long Island, New York City is so different, and we're involved so much with the specialty crops, just like you said, the wineries, breweries, agritourism, vegetable production, greenhouses, nurseries. So a whole range of high-end commodity crops that make us so different and unique compared to the rest of New York.
Right. It's very interesting because with everything going on, and I know you deal with politicians and everything else, and not to get political, but you're hearing on the news about, tariffs and soybeans in the Midwest. How is it affecting Long Island agriculture? What's going on economically right now with everything? I know it's a broad question, but
it is. And
it's on my mind.
Our agriculture is a little bit different. We're not really producing large-scale corn, commodity crops, corn, soybean, things like that. We're more engaged in producing vegetable crops and small, high-value crops that are sold directly to the consumer.
Gotcha.
But on the same hand, we're affected a lot with the tariffs, and the cost of the inputs that we have is affecting us greatly also.
Such as fuel or?
Fuel, fertilizers, plastic pots, glass bottles, any type of the makeup that we use for the product, there's a cost involved, and those tariffs do affect us.
Right. So is that mostly locally sourced, or is it sourced outside the country, or where's most of?
We try to keep it local as best as we can, but as we all know, a lot of the material does come from out of the country, and
right.
It would be nice to see things move back here and things being produced locally.
Right, absolutely. And, you know, there's so much going in with the agricultural world, not just, you know, climate and, you know, the Farm Bureau has evolved, and tell me how things are different now than, let's say, 5 years ago and where it's going. So.
We're always under pressure, especially in our region here. As anybody out there drives, they see development progressing constantly, and the farms are diminishing. We all know that as a fact.
Right.
And at the same time, we know that we have to try to preserve our heritage. Farming and agriculture has been such a heritage, especially here on Long Island. Some of the farms date back to the 1600s, especially as you get out on the North Fork. And you do want to see that maintained and kept in force. So trying to preserve the different farms through the generations, just like you're saying with the estate planning and insurances, is a really vital aspect of our industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And with costs going up and everything else, and I know you've told me in the past that, you know, even insurance is we're not talking life insurance, but, you know, insuring property, there's very few carriers now that are really out there working with you, as many as there was, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, you know, with climate change or a hurricane or Sandy, that's changed greatly. You know, one carrier's here, they decide to leave. I mean, we're not in a Florida situation, but what's that landscape look like?
So on the property end, as you see, most farmers and producers are land rich and cash poor, we like to say.
Right.
So as they hand that a property down generation to generation, that property value is increasing.
Right.
And if they don't have the proper estate set up, as the older generation passes away, that has to be covered somehow, that property can transfer to the younger generation.
Well, we know about that. That's my world, but
Correct.
But the property and casualty world, I mean, truly, land is a legacy that you want to pass on from generation to generation.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do that is through life insurance, by the way, which is estate tax free, and you can pay your taxes that way. And there are insurance companies that will actually finance farmers specifically to help them accomplish that, because the value of the land is so expensive. So they actually do a lot of things in that community globally to help the farm progress. But also, I think there's a lot of, you have to worry about not just expenses of goods, expenses of labor, which we didn't get into. We'll get into that in a little bit. Mm-hmm. And also the property casualty expenses of insuring your property, and particularly with weather change. That's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah.
So
one other aspect, you know, you do have weather change and climate change. Those things are affecting us on a regular basis. One thing that really does help us with the property areas are the land preservation packages. We're blessed here. Of course, the first land preservation program happened right here in Suffolk County back in the 1970s. And that model now is templated throughout the entire United States. Just recently, thanks to County Executive Ed Romaine and several other legislators, we have passed a legislation to secure the working waterfront areas of Long Island.
Oh, really?
Which is really a progress, and they took that after the Land Preservation Program, trying to mimic it to help protect all of the waterfronts that we have.
Oh, that's interesting. We're getting ready to go on break, but right after break, I want to talk more about that land preservation program. It's so important. And the work that the Farm Bureau does in helping lobby the politicians and make them aware of the issues, I think that's huge. Hey, Bill, if somebody wants to get a hold of you and the Farm Bureau, what's the best way?
The best way is just a quick email. It's very simple, director@lifb.com.
Fantastic. And you're listening to Bill Zalakar as my guest, Executive Director of the Farm Bureau, and I'm Neil Himmelstein. Best way to reach me, 631-647-4694, and we'll be right back after break. Thank you. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here today with Bill Zalakar, Executive Director of the Farm Bureau, whose territory stretches from New York City all the way out to the end of Long Island, right?
That's correct.
That is a huge territory.
It is.
How many farms or actual businesses are engaged, not only in the farm, but just from New York City to the end of Long Island?
Farm-wise, there's probably about 600, 650 farms. There are a lot of other smaller entities that are popping up and going into business, but we also cover a whole range of other aspects other than just farms.
Such as?
We try to get involved a lot in the educational aspect, being involved with schools. And one really interesting note is trying to work with the younger children in schools through the FFA program, which is the Future Farmers of America. And when we talk about that, that is a national organization. But it's hard to believe that the largest FFA chapter in a high school is at John Bowne High School in Queens, New York.
Really?
You would think that as an inner city school,
right,
where would they come from? But there are approximately 650 agricultural students in that high school.
That's incredible.
On a yearly basis.
That's incredible. Education is power. I used to be involved with Long Island Works. I don't even know if they're still. I started a program in Center Mauritius with Long Island Works, which is a program that Colin Powell put in place, which gave kids a reason to understand why they're going to school and what they're learning. You know, why do I need to know this math? Why do I need... Well, if you're going to be an architect or you're going to be, you know, even in construction, you need to know how to measure an angle from here to here. And what it did for me personally is my kids were in grade school at the time. Now they're doing very well. It gave them exposure to all these different things that they could do. Problem is today is many people have two parents working, and they may know what that parent does, but they don't know all the other aspects of what's out there. So I think what you're doing there is fabulous. I'd love to see more of it, and you know that's a great thing. If I could help you in any way and connections there, I get it.
It's not only working. In the past years, we've always focused our educational aspects on youth and in the schools. And now we're trying to take a different approach and looking at not only the youth, but adults and educating adults, especially with the political regime that we see happening now. You hear so much about food insecurity, the Maha report, Make America Healthy Again. And there really is a drive out there of people that want to know where their food is coming from,
yes,
what the makeup is. And I'll be honest with you, Neil, it is a concern. You think about it, what you are eating, aren't you really concerned
100%.
Where that food comes from and what is in it?
100%. And, you know, when I go to a supermarket, a regular supermarket, it's amazing to me. You know, I'd like to see more Long Island produced vegetables in the supermarket. I don't know where, you know, we have the best tomatoes in the world, and yet I go into, I don't want to name supermarket chains, but you go into a regular supermarket chain, I don't even know where they're getting that tomato from or if it's a real tomato even.
No, you're right. And that is, we saw during COVID when there was such a a diminishing supply of agricultural commodities, food in the supermarkets. And then the government really stepped back and said, you know what? We need to look at the food sources as a national security interest also.
Right, you were telling me about that.
Correct. And we got to be concerned where our food comes from. Of the 100% population in our country, 1% of that produces and supplies for 100% of the people out there.
Wow, that's insane.
So
yeah, 1%.
Yep. So there is a lot of pressure on the agricultural community, and they're forced to deal with a lot of different aspects. The important thing is, with educating the public, we're trying to let the people know that things can't always be perfect. When you go into a grocery store,
right,
sometimes you got to tolerate a little bit of the blemishes or the imperfections on the commodities.
Oh, yeah, that always scared me when I went into a supermarket and I saw this shiny apple, and I went, wow, that's nice. It's a shiny apple, but I'd love to put it on my desk, but I don't know if I want to eat it. And we have such great resources here for apples, for lettuce, there's so much locally grown with local farms that people that don't take advantage of it and go to the supermarket and buy stuff they don't even know where it's from just amazes me. Yeah. And you're not saving money by buying something that's made out of, I don't know what.
Yep. And we've really tried with Farm Bureau going back into the 1980s. Suffolk County really worked on us with the program. Suffolk County is really great engaging in the agricultural community. And we came out with a marketing program called Grown on Long Island. And it has really grown, and when people see the signage that we have for that, they know that product that is out there is grown on Long Island. It's grown locally, because that term locally can really mean a lot of different things. When you ask people, what do you consider local? Some will say, within the tri-state area. Some will say, in the United States. But I like to look at local as in our immediate Long Island area.
Yeah, no, it's important. And it's important to everybody. Listen, the more we feed ourselves and the more we buy locally and the more we consume locally, the better it is for everybody and preserving our farms.
Correct. And that's what we hope that the public will see, to get out there and support your local agricultural producers.
Right. You were saying something about the Land Preservation Act. I just want to go back to that. I'm going, sideways. I apologize, but but I don't know exactly what that is. I'd like to explain that to the listeners, what that is, and the legislative work you guys are doing in helping.
Correct. So
the community.
Back in the 1970s, Suffolk County realized that the farmland was diminishing rapidly. Okay, and that we need to step up and do something to protect and preserve that farmland. So with the work of Farm Bureau in Suffolk County and other groups, we came up with what is called the Farmland Preservation Act. And what happens with that is, say a farmer has 100 acres of land.
Right.
And each one of those acres, say, in simple terms, is valued at $100,000. Well, an average young person is going to have a hard time trying to step in and buy that land at that cost. So what the county does is they step in and they will pay a percentage of that value to take out the development rights, so that land will stay perpetually in agriculture or open space. There's two different aspects there also. So once the town or the county or different land trust come up and pay that amount for that acre of land, or how many acres it could be, then the farmer still maintains the land, but it can never be developed into houses or commercial industry.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So they pay the farmer cash like now, or
Nope, they pay now, and it usually runs in the range of say 60%, and that has varied. So in simple terms, if you have 1 acre valued at $100,000 and say they'll step in and pay $60,000, the land is then only worth about $40,000 that the farmer maintains.
Interesting. And they can use that to protect their assets today?
Correct. Yep.
Wow, I want to talk to you much more about that. I really need to learn about that. Anyhow, we're running out of time. You've been listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I have with me Bill Zalakar, Executive Director at Long Island Farm Bureau. And Bill, how can they get in touch with you, the best way?
The best way, Neil, is use my email at director@lifb.com.
And if you want to get a hold of me, the best way is to call me, 631-647-4694. Thank you and have a wonderful weekend.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.